Hey guys, I know it's been a long time since we last talked or last watched a video, but today is going to be the second webisode in the series of 3 where we made our press. Now, for the second webisode, we're going to be laying out the board and cutting out, and the third webisode is going to be the painting. So, welcome to webisode 2. Last time Jordan wasn't able to make it with me, so he's going to bring us through a little bit of what we're going to be doing today. Give you a heads up of what we're going to do before we get into it, so here we go.
Well, we're going to start off, we're going to need to lay up the board. So as you can see, we have our pretty much board layup already, just individual pieces, so we know the order of everything's going. We got the outside veneer, fiberglass, 2 inside panels, top fiberglass, and then the other veneer. So when you sandwich all those together, they'll make the completed board. To do that, we're going to be using West Systems epoxy. Should probably wear gloves when you use that. We're going to wrap it all in plastic and then slide it into the vacuum bag over here. Once we have that in there, we have the vacuum hooked up to the compressor. So you just turn that on, it sucks all the air out. It'll give you a nice bond between the layers and get all the extra epoxy out of there. And then we have the press, which you guys saw the making of last time. This is a slightly different one, but same idea. And we have our little hydraulic jack here. So you just pump them together and it sandwiches the board in there. Nice and quickly and real easy. So we're going to start off with the layup, put the epoxy on, sandwiching the board together, and then we're going to slide it in and pump it up and let it sit overnight, and then tomorrow morning we'll cut it up.
Now, it's really important to get that epoxy mixed up really well. That's just going to make it cure. You have your hardener and your resin together, and what Jordan's doing right now is he's mixing them up together. You want to spend some time mixing them up. You don't want to put too much more than you're going to use in a couple minutes. The more you put in, the hotter it gets and the faster it cures. So Jordan's going to start spreading that on there. I'm going to start kind of spreading it around. You want to make nice even layers on there, and here we go.
Alright, now that we got this all wrapped up and put in between our sandwich boards here, these are just to protect the board from the press, so that there's no imperfections in the veneers. We're going to take the board, bring it over here, and slide it into the vacuum bag, and then press it together.
Alright, so what Jordan's doing right now is he's throwing in a breather. That breather is going to allow, when you put the vacuum down on the bag, it's going to allow the vacuum to spread out across the entire board so that the whole board has the same pressure throughout it. So it pulls it nice and tight together and all that fun stuff. So Jordan's now going to crank up the press, or maybe turn on the vacuum first. I don't know which one you're going to do. Which one are you going to do? What? Crank it first. Yeah, he's going to turn on the vacuum and crank up the press a little bit. And we're just going to crank it till it gets tight, and then let it sit overnight. And that rhymes, and yeah.
Alright, so get the press in here, get the board in the press, vacuum's on, it's fully compressed here. So that's going to give a lot of pressure to the board, keep them all together, and all the air's out of there, so it'll be a good tight glue bond. We just got a little bottle jack pressed on there. So we'll let this sit overnight. In the morning we'll come back and pull her out, see what we got, and cut it up.
Alright guys, so day 2. As you know, wearing the same clothes again. Did you expect anything different? Probably not. But I'll give it away to Jordan. He's going to tell us what happened and all that stuff.
We pulled the board out of the press this morning. Comes out pretty clean. A little messy though. You gotta make something out of this. We have to clean it up. First we're going to start off by cutting it out in the bandsaw. Then we're going to go to the belt sander and clean up the edges. Once we have that done, then we can drill press all the holes in the drop throughs. And then we'll route the sides, make them a nice smooth side. And then final sanding and it should be good to go. Alright, so we're just marking the center lines down the board so we can line up our template. So once we get that done, we can just use a paper template. Alright, so now I'm just going to mark all the holes on the template so that we know exactly where to drill. It's got a sharp tool to press in there. And like a nice indentation to follow. Alright, time to cut it out. Just do a rough cut on the bandsaw and then we can clean it up with the belt sander. So this is just stay about like an 1/8 inch outside the line, just to give yourself room to sand off, and you don't want to mess up on this one. Alright, so now we got a nice rough cut board. Edges aren't too clean right now, but after we get on the belt sander it should be looking pretty good. So we're going to do that now. Alright, so just been belt sanded, so the edges are nice and smooth now. So even though it still looks a little rough, it's getting there. Next step is to throw it on the drill press and drill out the truck holes and the drop throughs. And we'll finish up the drop throughs with the jigsaw and then route the edge with the router and then do a final sanding to smooth up the top and bottom, and it should be good to go. Alright, so now after drill pressing, we got our 4 mounting holes, as you can see here. And these 4 holes will be cut with the jigsaw to connect them to make the drop through. And we'll do that right now. Alright, so I'm just going to cut along these lines and it'll give us the drop through we're looking for. So here's the first one, and the second one should come out pretty much the same. Then you just want to sand down these sharp corners here.
Alright, so now that we've sanded out the drop throughs, next thing to do is to router out the edges, give us a nice smooth curves and nice sharp edges on the board. And then after that we'll go to sanding. Alright, so final step is the last sanding, get it all nice and smooth, get rid of, as you can see the epoxy came through the veneers a little bit on the top and on the bottom, so we're going to get that all nice and clean so that when I go to paint it in the next webisode, it will be a nice smooth surface. So, here we go.
Alright, so we've got the finalized board now. Everything's nice and smooth and it's looking pretty good. So the last step is to paint it, which we will show on our next webisode.
And just so you know, this is the Stage 3 Rides jib, as you can see from the raised nose and tail. Completely symmetrical, so I guess there is no real nose and tail. Just, yeah. So, bye!
See you next time.